get structure type equals k structure color specifier static cast color specifier data structure pointer. Are you constant? No, definitely not. Structure. Really? Color specifier. You're not happy with that type conversion? Color specifier data structure is a kind of structure. What's the problem? Oh, constant. Why are you constant? Don't be constant. That's not good. Set info container to this info container. Else if the structure get structure type k structure I'm great. Holy heck. You guys have been talking. The music's also very pretty. Yeah. How do I know all of this? How in the world do I know all of this? Lots of experience, lots of time doing it. It kind of becomes like speaking a second language, I would say. Granted, you know, some people, they learn Spanish or Japanese or German or whatever. I just learned C++. Hey, right? Value data structure. Pointer to a structure. Set info container, done. That should, maybe, let's hope, do what I want it to do. Then we just have to fill in a couple simple functions and we'd be done. Okay, I'm close. I'm incredibly close. For some reason, I wasn't calling... Oh, is it not because I'm not calling the base for everything? Data description? Or are you data structure? Data structure. Process data. And we need to pass it the data description. Is not a class or namespace name. Yes. Oh, not data structure, just structure. F11. So when you call process data, okay, this is what I needed. Cool. It now is going to call process on every other structure in here, which is exactly what I was hoping for. So, inside here, so, we know that it's not a string data type, first off. We know it's a float data type. Data structure get data element I float num is this. Actually, probably the easiest thing, to do is color RGB. This is our final color, or I guess this is our color specifier? Color at specifier. There we go. That's correct. Sorry guys, I don't mean to go quiet. I've almost got this, and every time it's just like I'm so close. So incredibly close. That C4 float data type. Okay, it's a data structure. C4 float data type. Pointer. Structure. Static cast this to one of the, these pointers, except it needs to be constant. Get data element count is 3. Because the other thing we need to do, so not only do we need to make sure that this is made up of float elements, but because everything here is going to be red, green, blue oriented, we need to make sure that our color is all in 3 components at a time. So equals C4 color RGB data structure get data element 0 data structure get data element 1 and data structure get data element 2. Final step. Final step. We say that we need to grab that container, that info container. We need to add a color specifier whose height value and color at specifier are determined by this. Yes! Alright. Alright, sorry guys, I haven't been keeping up with chat. I'm going to try and catch up now. Why do you use double and signs and double equal signs? Oh, okay. And other people seem to have beat me to it. Double that is a Boolean and comparison operator. And equal is assignment, while double equals yada yada yada. Yeah, you guys got it. Alright. Whew. Okay, so the color specifiers are now filling themselves in perfectly. The value specifiers should also be doing mostly the same, but not quite. The info container set contains trees. Data structure, this is a Boolean data type. Bool data type. There we go. Get data element number 0. It's the only one there. And this function doesn't exist in our container. Friend class structure, specifically C4 structures. Okay. You go here, void set, let's see here. Set contains trees. Contains trees equals trees. Okay. Set contains trees. Okay, you're saying you can't access it. So I think I just need to make these friend classes very, very specific. Specifically, these two. Friend class that. Whew. Merg, it definitely is a little bit annoying that Java went its own route with Boolean, especially after Bool had kind of been set as the standard, but that said, okay, why is there an error reading it? 123039. 123039. What are you complaining about now? 123039. 122. So I think it starts with I. One, two, three, oh, 39. Invalid structure. Where are you getting called from? There's one place. Well, that works. Ah, and it doesn't think. Hey, Sestwitch. Glad you're here. Glad you're here to join us for this, unfortunately long, jump into kind of the world of data reading, especially using a new format that I haven't played with before, but hopefully it's not so incredibly boring. We'll see. Process data somewhere here. Here, this color specifier. I assume this is the one that's failing, because this is also the one that is C4 data structure. This is just kind of something that happens a lot. You end up working on this kind of stuff quite a bit. Every once in a while you just kind of run into a, oh crap, I need to do this, or I need to make this. Structure map. Okay, inside of here, in our data array, there are no elements. Interesting. Okay, well I'm just gonna take that out just for the sake of making this work. Add a color specifier is failing. We have height 0 and a color. And why is this having trouble? Okay, we haven't called new on this. Oh, we haven't called new on this. We're so friggin' close. So incredibly close. And yet, this is a bunch. So this is going to create a pointer. Right? This, when we create a static array like this, the biome info container points to a, well, it essentially is a pointer, and it's going to point to a list of elements that are biome info containers. So what we got to do at this point is we have to find a way to call new on each of these, or at least find a way to detail each one before we set the final kind of ablaze, so to speak. So we fill it with information, set it on fire. What kind of... Okay. So before we process all the text, 0 I is less than k biome count plus plus I. The biome info containers I equals biome info container . So if we look at this, it's filling these in with good kind of setup data. I don't know if this will fix our bug or not. I don't think it will. just in case, I figured I'd try. The info container is a pointer. All it's doing is dereferencing that, and then... Okay. Okay. So what's happening is, because this is static, this is getting created before the program even runs. And what ends up happening is, this is still getting set to a pointer to... I'm not sure if it's bad data. I don't think it's bad data. It's just... It's being called without being initialized. Or created, I should say, without it being initialized. So I need to make sure it gets initialized before I make this call to info container, which I thought I had done. So, here's our info container pointer. And we're going to take that pointer and stash some good information in it. Let's try that. Nope, it's still... We still have bad data coming in from somewhere. And if we look at these color specifiers... Okay, they're coming from a good source, but it's this info container that's being set incorrectly. Let's... Oh, if that's not getting set correctly, that would be bad. Oh, also I'm not going through every single structure. Oh. Ah, got it. The code I wrote above, yeah, let's just forget I ever wrote that. That's kind of dumb. So, structure is not a null pointer. Structure equals... get next level using the structure. And we don't need this if statement. That seems like a bizarre if statement to patch in here. So let's remove that. Alright. Color specifier gets set. Another color specifier gets set. The value and the other value. That's perfect. And, although I didn't see it happen, and I do want to see it happen, it looks like all the data went in correctly. So I should... Chugga-lugga-lugga. Come on. Come on, game. Purple. No biome color found. No, at least no biome color. Get color at height. Okay. Okay, because we're missing the other color specifiers. Great. Alright, we are on this. This is fantastic. Yes? Alright. Copy, paste, paste. Right? Because this isn't the only thing out there. We have forest, forest, and we have mountains. And for now, I don't really care. They're all going to look the same, and that's just fine. Just double check. Yep. That works. And the color? Oh, I can't actually tell. If I look at the color specifier, though, I should see an element. That looks good. Alright. And there should be 2 of these. Here goes the second one. And then... set contain trees. Else if var name equals height multiplier. Is there a underscore there? There was. Height multiplier. Info container. Set height multiplier to the data structure. Get data element 0. And you should be a float data type, not a Boolean. Get, you are not get, you are a set, which doesn't exist yet, which is fine. Void set height multiplier float mult height multiplier equals mult. Great. It's crazy to watch you guys just having your own conversations, doing your own thing, and that's great. I'm glad you guys are having a good time, and at the bare minimum, entertaining yourselves. Okay, there's one. The other, there it is. Data is okay. I don't need to be inside this code anymore. Everything loads okay. Come on, game. Work for me. Nope. Still no biome color. Okay, let's see what the heck is going on there. There's no biome color found. I'm really curious what's going on here. Who's calling it, first off? Okay, biome info, get color at height. So we already have a biome info because we know our type is forest. And we have nothing in our type specifiers. Ah, crap. Okay. Well, thank you guys. Your words are very kind. I'm glad that you are finding this very entertaining, and I am just right... There's a little bit left. There's a little bit left. And it's because this biome info, if you look at it, it's not getting set. None of the insides is being set by anything at all. Let's see here. What's funny is I'm adding the color specifiers, right? They are getting set. And if we look at this color specifiers, there is definitely a color in the specifier. So this is working. And this info container does seem to point to a given type of object. So it's not like I'm doing anything too insanely wrong. I'm not far off the mark. I'm just not on it either. Okay, let's try something basic, right? We know we have the data description, and we've set the biome type already, and we have the info container. Let's just grab the info container and immediately set the biome based on the information we have. Void set biome. Set biome type using the biome type. Type equals biome. Nice simple function here. And right here, set biome type to the, let's see here, biome type offset. Cannot access private member. That's fine. That's an easy fix. Friend class this. This actually should go first. Bare minimum. This should work. So I say we have the biome, we set it. We then get an info container pointer based on this pointer right here. And we can see each of them are completely default. They have nothing inside them. And what we're going to do, offset is 0. So I'm going to set one of them. And none of them are getting set. Oh, because it's add color specifier. Okay. Okay, here's a different one. This one will have an offset of 1, so we actually should see some data changed. I didn't even realize that none of the data would actually change. So this info container, and specifically this line here, we should see the change if this is working as intended, which here's the change, right? This is not unexpected. Okay. So this info container pointer is good. Let's dump some more breakpoints in. Make sure I didn't break anything. Here's our color specifier. And we grab the data structure, which should be made up of a trio of floats. Yes, that's fine. We can actually close that. So here's our trio of floats, which should kind of always be the same, unfortunately. And if we look at the colors being pulled out, it's 0.9, 0.9, and 0.2, or close enough, right? We're in a good state with the actual data reading. The question becomes, why isn't this accepting the data? We create the color specifier. And then we add an element, and the element exists. If we look at the info container, the count is 1. So, what? This actually looks like it's all working just fine, which is frightening. So the forest has one specifier. We hit add. And if we look at the color specifiers, it now has two. Okay. And now we're going to set can contain trees to true. Oh, they're all set to false. That's fine. And then once more, we set the height to be 0.25. So all this information is making it in fine. Ducky, I have been working on this for at least an hour, probably. Hour and a half, maybe. I've been doing other things along the way as well. It's just that this one little bit of work, this one little bit is giving me a lot of trouble. Okay. Cell. So this biome info container. This is the thing that's giving me hell. Because I say, oh, what? Wait, what? That's also new. Okay, 139.803.726. Okay, let's look this up. Oh gosh. K data, okay. Right here. What are the last three numbers? I guess that's the big one. 726. So it starts with S. 726. String invalid. Find results. Where are you going? I'm not done with you. Okay, plains. Did I do this right? Plains, yes. K-biome forest, yes. And K-biome mountain. Oh, mountains. Mountain, singular. Okay. Undo, redo. Okay, we get to the generate mesh. And for some reason this isn't copying over correctly. But, what if I do this and swap this to a pointer? I'm really curious. Is that the only place I use that? Oh my gosh, it really is. Okay, whatever. There's no issues. We load the game. We grab our pointer, and the pointer's just got garbage. Why does this pointer have garbage? I mean, look at this. It's completely empty. It's acting like... I like this, like, really, really dramatic music, and I'm sitting here staring at the screen. It's just like, come on. Programming is not that exciting. It's kind of exciting, just not that exciting. Think. Why would it... Okay, let's break away from the big evil global. Alright? Let's just do that. Because I think Water Limon might have it, actually. Big evil global, I'm sorry, but you have to go away. we'll have a biome info manager. C4 biome. Oh no, it's a singleton. Biome info manager. I have 100 people watching. Holy heck, that is a first. Guys, all of you in the channel right now, you are awesome. Thank you very much. Really? I almost don't believe you. 100 people right now? No. No, I see 94. Pulling my leg. I see how it is. Yeah. Okay. Ooh, the guy who's making Wanderlust is on right now. Interesting. And Jim. Interesting. It's always fun to look up the Twitch channel and see everyone else who's making stuff right now, and it's like, oh, what are you doing? What are you making? Oh, okay, that looks interesting. Huh. Well, gosh darn it, guys. I cannot say thank you enough. Waterly Mom, I am not replacing a Big Evil Global with another Big Evil Global. I am replacing it with an external singleton pointer, which is a lot cleaner than our Big Evil Global, because the Big Evil Global is going to be different depending on our DLL memory space. And that might be, I say that might because I'm not sure, but that might be what's kicking us in the teeth right now. Biome info container pointer biome type return biome info containers type. Okay. Let's look at our data class real quick. I'm going to close down this extra garbage. I don't need that anymore. We've figured out what's mostly wrong. We're just going to do... Okay. Biome info manager. How does that look? Okay. Pointer the biome info manager. Now, I'm not sure if I want this to live in here. Part of me is tempted to actually put it inside this game data handler. Do I actually want to do that? Do I? Structure name list. You know what? Yes. Yes, I do, actually. So let's not create another Big Evil Global. Let's actually use an existing Big Evil Global. Because if I can put all the game's constants in one place, I will be a lot happier of a camper when the time comes for me to replace a lot of this stuff. Alright, so we have all this add. We also need the biome info container pointer get biome info container. Int, not int, biome type. Return biome info container. Type. And we use plus type for now, just so we get a pointer back out. Is an undeclared identifier? That's fine. The data. The data handler. Get biome info container biome type. And Nope, just data. Also, hey, not being a hash. Sheesh. Missing... What? Missing return type. Oh. First off, I don't know why those are separate. Secondly, okay guys, we've almost got this nailed down. Almost have it nailed. We just got to biome info container pointer for the for each biome, right? Info container equals the data handler get biome info container I. And we have to convert this to a biome type because for some reason C++ can convert outwards from there we go. For some reason it can go outwards, but it can't from, let me get this right. It can go outwards from enumeration to int, but it can't go from int to enumeration. Kind of bizarre. Why am I calling it a big evil global? So it's not honestly big and evil. In fact, this is a good organizational matter for me to take care of, is putting the data in the right place. And the right place for me in this case, because this is global information that I want to exist for the entirety of the game, is going to be this singleton class. And singleton classes are things that a lot of people look down upon, but I find them, like any other computer science tool, to be a right tool for the right a right tool for the right job kind of situation. And so, Hyper is calling it a big evil global, and I kind of repeated him a little bit, even though it's not actually the case. It's not honestly big and evil, because I'm not storing a ton of stuff in it. In fact, I'm being very organized about the information that I put into it. Alright guys, one error. The data... Where'd you go? There you are. Get biome information container, biome info, not biome info, biome type, using offset. Okay. Whew. Let's see if this does any better. So already it hasn't crashed. That's a good start. Everything seems to be in place. Looks good. I've still got, hopefully, a... Where was it? Generate mesh. Okay, I've still got my pointer in here. So when I say load level, the data handler is going to give me a good biome info. Biome forest. It has color specifiers that match. All the information looks good. Now, it's all brown. And this is some pretty big terrain also. That's fine. That's fine. One fix is that obviously this data needs to get swapped out for the real data. Right now we're using just kind of garbage we've thrown together, and that's fine for data testing. But planes, you can get out of here. You're already done. Let's put in the color palette data for the forest. Come on, you. Forest. Okay, at 1. So this is at the highest point of the forest. We're just a pure green. There we go. And then at our next height, not 0. Oh, wait, it is 0. Okay, dang. 0. A little data entry here. It's good for the soul, or so I hear. Also, that should be a 1. And then minus 0.5. We go 0.1. Wow, that's pretty close to black. Let's lighten that somewhat. It's like a really dark blue. Or, no, red-green. It's a really dark green, sorry. Let's lighten that ever so slightly, and then the final step is minus 1.0. Yeah, so the type of syntax is open data descriptor language. The idea is it's built to be a strictly typed data language, unlike JSON, which is weakly typed. We'll see if it ends up being as helpful as I'm hoping it is. It also helps that the engine already has a parser, although, as you guys just saw, I spent a shit ton of time fighting with that parser. So I don't know if this is going to be the happiest thing in the world. But here's to hoping. So we have our forest with our color specifiers intact. We have our values in here. And for the last one, mountain. So you're going to be pure white at the top, at the tippy top. Then we're going to go to 0.8, where we're going to go into kind of a gray. I like how I've got a red gray here. It's not like a straight gray, but it's got a little tinge to it. 0.2, 0.2, 0.2. That's a straight gray. Is there an advantage over using XML? So XML on its own is kind of garbage because you end up with XML generating a lot of extra data. It's kind of, well, Waterlimon just said it. It's kind of bloated. The thing I would use is JSON over it. But the other thing to keep in mind is that being, I can't really think of a ton for XML, unfortunately. There's not a lot of stuff in XML's favor. I guess the one thing XML has is that you can separate properties from their value. So you can say, I have a float whose multiplier is going to be this and whose stored number is this. So that you can do things like very large scales. If I have this intergalactic game, then I can say, okay, in local coordinates, the world's position is here, but the property is going to let me know that it's in like universe coordinates or, you know, celestial coordinates or whatever. So that I can, in the game, convert that into real 3D space coordinates. And hopefully that would work a whole lot better because of it. Okay, so all this code disappears. And the world generation shouldn't have any more cell color array, which it doesn't. Wide tool support, yeah, that's another reason. Most people I know suggest using JSON over... Actually, let's make that a small window just so I can still see behind it. Okay. Does this get me back my my standard world generation code? Kinda, sorta. We have to do a little work. You notice that our levels are kind of... There's 3 of them that clearly exist. Here's 1, here's 2 down here, and 3 is our floor level. But we're pretty close. We're really freaking close to having exactly what we want. Terrain generation. Multiplier if the biome is this. Permanence fmod. Yes. 0.2. Okay. Height multiplier. Interesting. Okay. Now, I thought, and let's see if I'm incorrect, but I thought, where was it? Was it in Game World? I thought it was Game World. That's where I was storing the original information. Game World should have a terrain Y multiplier of 0, or of 1, not 0, just 1. So why are these Z coordinates ending up all over the place? It's funny, I started this quest trying to get one piece of data out, and I ended up doing such a long string that as I'm closing up my things kind of recursively, my brain's going back and going, oh crap. What was I doing back here? I'm so freaking close, but I'm actually kind of forgetting stuff that I started with. The world elevation. Okay. Where this elevation gets set... Nope, that's in the actual engine. I should not be looking in engine code. I should be looking inside my game code. Let's fix this actually. It should be elevation equals... and once again, all this engine code keeps cropping up. Elevation equals E. Set cell elevation. Really? There we go. The one place we call it. Right here. Oh, and I am used to generating terrain heights between 0 and 1. Which is actually what this is doing. The multiplier is 1. And this octave 2D noise 0.3, which reduces us to 0.2. Oh, I know the problem. So I need to break this up into more layers before I do anything else. Because the old get terrain height function isn't going to act the same way that it currently does. Gosh, because I was trying to... Okay, let's undo that work just for a moment. Just for a moment. So that this goes back to what I want it to be. And this get world elevation, for now, we're just going to remove the multiplier. Just so we're kind of back to our status quo and back to seeing a game world that makes sense. This is still insanely huge. And that is because I have a get cell elevation. No? Really? Elevation's afloat. This is really bizarre. I'm missing something very simple. Dum-dum-dum. Okay, let's look at the set cell elevation first. Make sure this is generating what we expect it to. And then make sure that that's getting used. So if we hit F9, our noise value is 0.2. Yes, that is expected. So this function does what it expects. The thing is, somewhere in here... Oh, I pass it an int. Thank you, PartsPo. You are a lifesaver. You got it. On the nose. There we go. Okay. We're back to what we had originally. Right? This is the code that I was looking at earlier and going, man, I could fix a lot of this. And the cool thing is, let's say for a moment that I think those mountains are too high, right? I don't like that multiplier. We can swap this down to 2.0. In fact, I don't need the 2.0. I could just do 2 point, but let's just 2.0. And all I have to do is just rerun the game. And once again, that data-driven aspect comes in and saves us a lot of time. We didn't have to recompile that, and it's really one of the bigger wins for us when we're doing something like this. And this is getting pretty close to what we want the final product to look like. We're getting actually really freaking close. Let's turn the multiplier for the planes up ever so slightly, if only because the planes are so flat that right now they're getting flattened into oblivion. That's kind of cooler looking. I like that more. And you can see the underwater aspects of this game kind of starting to come in. You'd have to create bridges or some kind of land bridge between here. And then say you wanted to, you know, cross these mountains. It shouldn't be too hard. I actually think I see... Yeah, this might be an entrance here. This looks like one step up, and then you could have a villager traverse through here, and then a step down, and figure out whatever's over here. Whew. Game world, let's turn on trees again. Just so that I can see a little better what I'm going for. Create water geometry. No. Spawn trees. The bushes look kind of funny still, so I'm leaving those out. Mostly out of shame for my own inability to, I don't know, make real art. At least for now. Spawn trees. Trees per square area, 1. Because right now, things are pretty freaking small. And we're going to generate a... Well, I was about to say a lot of trees, but... There we go. There's some trees. The trees are kind of in interesting places. What is going on here? The trees that are stuck in terrain right now. What the heck is going on? Okay, you spawn a tree. Where's the height getting set? That's the thing that's wrong. Set node position. Okay, get random point in cell, I think, is not... Oh, also the other thought is if the position... Let's just cut this out. I'm just going to block comment it. This is kind of cool stuff. Once again, C++ and a lot of other languages actually have block comments. Okay, I don't feel like I've actually made any progress. Best Tokyo, I am not self-taught. I went to UC Santa Cruz for 3 years, and I have my bachelor's degree in computer science and game design from there. Cell, get world, and then get random point in cell. X, Y, and Z uses elevation. Where am I getting this elevation from? From the cell's elevation. Get world elevation. Oh, but I don't have the multiplier now. Huh, I need to think about my usage of some of these. For now, elevation should be right. I'm actually kind of surprised that this isn't working. They do all look like they're at height 0, kind of locked there, or at least height ground to -1 or something. Because, I mean... No, they are. They're all at height equals 0. What's going on here? So, turning this off didn't help. Let's just, for kicks... Get world transform. Or world position should do the trick, actually. That should go just as easily. Still not doing it. What's wrong? This is so bizarre. Oh, let's see here. It depends on how cells are getting generated. Really depends. Wumbo, my game looks very different in comparison to last week. What happened? I ripped out my old terrain system. The Verneuil system was not working out. As it turns out, it's very difficult to keep the properties of a Verneuil cell and have the cell be a editable entity. For example, I wanted the Verneuil cells to fit within a square. But then you have to start trimming the Verneuil cells. And when you trim the cells, as it turns out, you break a lot of properties of what is inside an actual Verneuil cell. And that becomes very problematic. The moment you start doing that, things get kind of crazy. Okay, when we generate the mesh, we're using the elevation here when we shouldn't be. The vertices should be at 0. And what we should be doing instead is this game world should be placing all the terrain at the cell's elevation. So, not game world, sorry, the world generator. Get world elevation, set node position. Okay. That looks right. They look like they're actually touching the ground now. Let's... Now this isn't the complete, like, fix, right? This isn't done. But I'm liking this more, if only because it gives me space to place... Now granted, the new system also isn't happy with my old game tool code, so I'll need to fix that as well. But the idea here is that I'm using the same noise, right? It's still simplex noise. You can see it's still simplex noise because all of the terrain is somewhat parabolic still. It's gradient based because all we're doing is interpolating between points on our hypercube. I don't really want to go into the full details of that. That's actually a little bit of crazy stuff that it took me a long time to wrap my own head around. And the other big thing is that I need this flat space. Because before, remember, all those Verneuil cells were causing me trouble in that... oh, okay, I can place some of these. They just need to be not... Oh, they need to be not at water level, but they need to be above water level. Is that in the tool, or is that in the cell? That's probably in the cell. It's equal to 0. Let's think about this. Someone calls set contains water. And when you do, if it's less than, okay, if it's less than the water heat height, that should fix that. I should now be able to build, yeah, I can build here. And you can see I'm losing a few frames when I do stuff like this. Not the end of the world. But I need all this flat space. That's really what I was missing. And so I pulled the old terrain system out, if only because I wanted to make sure that wherever I had flat space, I was making good use of it. So this is kind of what ended up coming out of that. And I like the system more, even though it's generating some interesting terrain. I like it more because I have more control over it, even if it's just little ways I have control. For example, say I don't like the resolution of it. The new system has resolution built into it, so I can go into the game world, and where I call build terrain, we can change the size or we can change the resolution. We can make these blocks huge if we want. And it fixes a lot of issues when it comes to how the terrain just worked. Also, let's pull this back to 3. And... oh, I had one more thing I wanted to do, and I just completely forgot about it. There was something more, I swear. But you'll notice, like, even when I'm changing the resolution, the terrain actually kind of looks the same. You can see the same bit of water here. You can see the same kind of bit of beach coming in here. It's just kind of an interesting system, and I have a lot more control, and that control allows me to generate all kinds of cool stuff. Suddenly I can say, okay, this area, flatten it, and what we're going to do is we're going to take this area, and this is going to be our base start camp. Or I can do things like take this area, hollow it out, and we're going to put like artifacts, or we're going to put an enemy village here. And it gives us a lot more control. I've tried 100. 100 is overkill. Let's go... I'm going to start at 32. Let's just see what the heck happens. It's going to take longer to load, I'll tell you that much. I think I did this yesterday and watched it just kind of crumble. Poor thing. Yeah, even 32. This is still loading. Tick tock, tick tock. Come on, game. Let's turn this down. Let's do this power of 2 at a time. This is a great opportunity for me to optimize. I'm trying to think of good ways to do it. I honestly think my best way to do it right now is probably... I know exactly what the problem is, Limon. I don't even have to, like, think about it. It's mostly the fact that I'm creating a ton of vertex buffer objects and sending them all separately. Alright, so this is what a resolution of 8, I think? Yeah, this is a resolution of 8. So one cell of unit is an 8 by 8 square. Is 64 cells. Which is nice, right? This is a nice thing. I actually wouldn't mind leaving it like this at all. Obviously, what's my frame rate look like? You can see the time spent is really high, partially in the shadow mapping, because once again, all of these are vertex buffer objects that are getting sent separately. So you're ending up with a lot of vertex buffer objects that are being sent from CPU to graphics card every single frame, because I've marked them as dynamic, just so I can have them kind of show up with better... Oh god. I'm so sorry, my CPU. And you can even see my GPU spending a ton of time with the shadow stuff, right? This isn't... It's not a bad thing. It's actually expected. Let's make the terrain a lot smaller. Yeah, human eye can't see more than 10 FPS, right? That's what filmmakers have been saying forever. Or not 10, it's, what is it? Okay, so here's a tiny little, but very well... Look at that sucker. Oh my gosh. I'm kind of curious how high this will keep going. Let's try that 128. For a terrain of one size, right? This is actually probably generating the cells so close to each other at this point that there's little to no point in actually having a resolution this high, right? I turned it up to 128 and there's only one cell. Or actually, sorry, it's a 1 by 1. Come on, code. You can do it. I believe in you. Okay, maybe it can't. Maybe it's a bit too much. So it's funny, I've heard people say 30 FPS. I have a roommate who can see the FPS differences. His eyes are good enough that he can spot differences in frame rates. And I'm talking about like above 60, right? Or not above 60, but like between the 60 and 30 point, he's like, he'll look at a screen and go, yeah, that looks at about 45. And he's gonna be right pretty much every time. That's actually the partner who's working on this game with me. I say that, and I haven't seen code from him in a long time. Oh god, my poor frame rate. Ah! Welcome to game development, where even your frame rate hates you. I like how all this time is happening in the shadow map, too. This tiny, tiny little thing. Anyway, back to what I initially was going for here. Terrain size of 10 with, let's just say 4, right? 4 looks like maybe a good, interesting number. I liked 8, actually. 8 looked like a good resolution. Because you have enough detail that you can still do things, but at the same time, I clearly need to work on my my game tool code now. Look at those spikes in CPU time. And then the moment I stop using it, crunch, 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 crunch. And then the moment I turn it off, I'm back to a nice smooth 60. Alright. Whew. So, we've got a nice looking terrain. I need to do the skirts, but the skirts are fine. That'll be something that I can handle. The other things that I'm trying to think of before I kind of sign off, Jarheads asks, what am I using for the user interface? The user interface is done in engine. So if I actually unload the world and pull up a panel, you can see that like that build button, this is what that build window looks like. And I can sit here and rearrange it and play with it to my heart's content. Or, let's see, I can also create full-on windows in the system, and the window allows me to have better control over these. Also, for those who are curious, another thing on the giant list of things I'm redoing right now is this mission system. I'm trying to rethink this so that I have state machines within state machines that work in a way that I expect them to. And it's kind of a lot, right? This is a ton of stuff to redo, but I think it will contribute to the overall organization and also to my ease of actual programming. Because the hope is, and this is something I may not have shown you guys before, is that the engine already has a lot of stuff in place, and the stuff that I want to make sure I can use is some usability stuff for me, right? It's not all usability for the user sometimes. For example, let's create a random node. Yeah, let's just make a sphere. Don't care. Just a basic sphere. Ta-da, it's a sphere, right? It's what you expect it to be. If we go in and look at the controller for it, there's this script controller here. Ooh, shader parameter. Interesting. There's a script controller here that if you edit it, it actually allows you to create state machines. So I can do something like this. Whoops. Do something like that, right? And I would love to be able to have something like this for my AI. So that's kind of the next thing on the list, is to create a way to access my AI so that I can create a state machine that says, this is going to be what the state for, say, chopping wood looks like. Because you even have conditionals inside here. And so what I really need to do is create such a system so that I can have a state machine that is a job, and I can hand that state machine to people, and then I can have a hierarchical state machine system. So inside you have the job, but you also have other things that always need to happen. For example, he always needs to check if he's hungry. He always needs to check if he's tired. He always needs to see if he has enough health or hunger left to survive. Or if he's being attacked, he needs to run like hell. So there's a whole bunch of things that I'd like to get done in terms of the job system, because the AI in this game has to be clean enough that it can handle all these states and handle them well, because the player's not going to have direct control. Right? We're not going to be able to pull a StarCraft. And that's one of the big things that I'm happy about when it comes to this game. Sorry, playing with the state machine while I talk. So, yeah. This is what I would like to have for my own system. And we'll kind of see how that ends up working. I don't know if this is going to end up being the end state for, like, what my villager controller will look like. But it would be really nice if I could do this. Especially since it's a purely event-based system. And that's really what I'm going for, especially with the AI. We don't want to be polling, we want to be event-based. So, here's to hoping, right? Fingers crossed. Alright, guys. Don't save that. Don't do that. Get rid of that sphere. Thank you. Alright. Whew. Deep breath, because this was a big task that we just chugged through. It's been, oh god, it's been a long time. I think I started about 5 hours ago with one interruption in the middle and one giant mug of coffee down. Probably why I was able to keep functioning for so long. Guys, if you have any questions, please feel free, ask away. I'm going to play around and poke at my system a little further. Make sure that I've kind of got everything where I want it. Where the heck did the trees go? That's my only question. Let's look into that while I answer questions and figure out where did the trees go? Where are the bees? Why don't I use Unity? The big thing, so the big problem I had with Unity initially was that this game is very, very user interface based. There's going to be a lot of different windows, there's going to be a lot of different buttons, and when I first started this project, Unity's UI was garbage. And it still continues to be mostly good at this point, but now I'm so far into my game that I don't want to start over from scratch because Unity happened to be missing a feature and now does. The other big thing is that a lot of Unity's code is not happy with procedural art, or with procedural stuff in general, I should say. It's a lot more difficult in Unity to generate things like that. And I'm a lot happier with doing the work myself in a lower level language than I am fighting with something like Unity's scripting system and trying to get procedural data packed into that. I mean, that's really the big reason. Also, Unity has some licensing stuff, and it's also there's a cadre of other small reasons. I still think about it every once in a while, swapping over to Unity. The problem is I've just got so much code invested in this that I really don't want to. I really don't want to change over. As nice as it might be, I don't want to. Also, I like a lot of the features that live inside this engine, and I think they match my game better than Unity's system does. Just personal preference. Also, Unity's a little messy. A little. Sorry, long answer. What's it like to be a doctor? I'm not actually a doctor. I don't actually have a PhD, and I'm not actually a Gallifreyan Time Lord. Unfortunately. Despite the fact that I have the sweater. Somewhere. I actually think the sweater is packed somewhere in my room. Under a pile of clothes I haven't actually done yet. Hey, Binray is hosting me for a while. Thank you, Binray. I don't know if I'm saying your username right, but I've watched your stream a fair number of times. Really cool stuff, dude. Ooh, and I dropped some frames there for some reason. Bizarre. Okay. Anyway, thanks, dude. Thanks for the host. Why am I using include guards instead of pragma once? Am I? Looks like I am. So the reason include guards instead of pragma once. Pragma once is a Visual Studio only. As far as I know, it's Visual Studio only. or at least the Microsoft compiler. And the reason I'm using include guards instead is because in some case that I decide to ever swap this code over to Linux, I need to be able to build it on a Linux machine. And Pragma once, I'm not sure if that actually translates over to Linux or Mac or other things. Now, I could be completely wrong, right? I'm just kind of following what the engine has. I don't think the engine uses Pragma. It uses Pragmas for warnings. Yeah, but I don't see any Pragma once. And so that's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just following the engine style, and also I'm making sure that my code is as open as possible. Now, I see people telling me I'm wrong, which is great. I learned something new. Okay, well, I learned something new today. It's like I had a viewer jump into chat yesterday right before I ran off to my date, and they said, oh yeah, you should look at C++ 14 because it has this like unique pointer and share pointer. And it was an interesting read, and I definitely learned something, but at the same time, it's not something I think I'm going to use immediately. But still, it's great that I keep learning things from you guys. I'm glad that this is not just a one-way I'm pushing information out, and whatever you guys absorb is whatever. I'm really happy that I'm still learning from you guys as well. And I'm sure that you guys have already caught on that not only do you fix bugs for me, but you guys will point out problems or flaws within my organization. And, you know, it's really nice when you guys do that, because I will question it myself, and then I will give you my reasoning. And if my reasoning sounds dumb, most of you call me out on it, which is great. What's your opinion about the Unreal game engine? So I haven't seen the newest Unreal engine, so I can't give you my opinion on the newest ones. The old ones could do some really cool stuff, but were also a mess. You'll notice there kind of came a point where Unreal's popularity declined very quickly. And that's mostly because Unreal kind of got big, bloated, and overran itself. And so the big thing is that near the end was where I saw a lot of Unreal Engine, and I saw a lot of bloated, unnecessary code in there. Especially in Unreal's old scripting system, where the scripting system would generate headers. Those headers would generate script. The script generates headers, headers generate script, wash, rinse, repeat until either it stops generating headers or until you hit some hard-coded number and it would just stop and hope it worked. Nice to know that GCC and Clang support Pragma, though. That's really cool. Are you in a hotel room right now? Nope. I'm in my house. I have a house. Hey. It's this house. It's kind of dark in my house, but that's fine. Curtains look familiar. Do they? I mean, they're kind of standard curtains, right? They just have the like, kind of embroidered leaves. It's kind of pretty. I like it. Why aren't you using Visual Studio Community Edition? So the big thing that Community Edition lends that Express doesn't is that Community Edition gives you the plugin manager, and I don't need... I looked at the list of plugins, and I didn't see anything I needed immediately. Most of the best plugins are paid or not free. They're on like by trial basis, and then they want you to pay for a license at the end, and that's not really what I want to do. I don't want to futz with that. I like my IDE as clean as possible. There was a while where I actually was trying to learn how to program without IntelliSense and a lot of this crazy stuff, but it turns out it's such a great tool. I really don't want to leave it behind. And it really helps me be more productive. And that's what I need right now. I need that productivity. I don't need an environment that makes me happy. I need an environment that makes me work. Cracks the whip, so to speak. It's got a couple more debugging features, but nothing I can't live without, especially like the memory stuff is actually not going to work with the C4 engine, because C4 has its own memory manager and does its own allocations. And so you'll find that actually a fair number of debugging tools are going to see the giant allocation at the beginning of the engine grabbing a ton of space for the memory manager, and then they'll never see another allocation again until the game exits. So that's not going to be terribly useful. And some of the code analysis, while nice, I've found better code analysis programs out there. Specifically, Very Sleepy is a really good one that you can do great profiling with. So I don't really feel a huge need to sit back and kind of make use of. Community Edition is cool, but I don't see a lot of features in there that I need, and I'm used to this. Changing IDE is really a time-intensive thing, even if it's similar. Stefalevsovsky? Gosh, I am so sorry. I know, I recognize the name too, and I know I've said it before. And I'm probably still butchering it. Microsoft is making Visual Studio free because they're releasing or planning something new like it. Maybe. Also, there's just a lot of other IDEs starting to surface, and Microsoft probably wants to make sure that they're the most widely used compiler. Just kind of how it works. I saw a really cool one a while back. I think it was, oh, what was it? It was like Light Table? Light... Oh, man. Light something? Light board? No, it's Light Table. That's what it is. And it looked really freaking cool. And then I proceeded to forget that it existed until now. This might be worth looking at. Might. Once again, though, changing IDEs is always a pain. You always end up spending a lot of time figuring out how to do things that you already knew how to do in your old IDE. So I'd rather be making my game than changing my IDE. At some point, it probably would be worth checking out a new IDE just to see what another one is like. Maybe I'll do that as like an extra stream on the side, but I'm not really too into the idea of switching IDEs. I was gonna look something up. I have Google open. I forgot. Whatever. Alright, guys. Well, it's been fun. Thank you very much for all your help and also all your support today, working on this somewhat insane, but hopefully now much cleaner control system. Ooh, Heart Lexicon is online. Maybe I'll watch her. Oh, she's playing Dark Souls, though. She's not programming. Watching her program is fun. She's got a very, very good interactive programming session. If you ever see her doing game dev, watch it. She makes a really cool bot. And it's fun to watch her because she struggles the same way most programmers do. The same way I do, hey. Anyway, I am going to do other things. I'm going to stand up, probably walk around, get away from my computer for a little bit, or at least away from these two screens. Heart Lexicon. Let's see here. Heart Lexicon. She's a favorite of mine. Is that right? I think I got it right. There you go. She's playing Dark Souls 2 right now. But she's interesting to watch. I like to watch her programming. She does a lot of C# work. Especially her bot is made in C#, so there you go. And I think she's an Ubisoft employee, so she does work for a major game company, unlike me, who is currently unemployed. Thanks to my... I don't know what that's thanks to, actually. Either way, thanks, guys, for joining me. If you are new here and have never seen this before, and you are interested in programming or game development, please, I urge you to follow, if not my channel, then Handmade Hero, or find a way to get into programming, because it's really freaking cool. If you want to make games, there are a lot of great resources out there. And if you want to keep seeing me make this game, specifically, and watch this fine terrain engine get made, right? We're kind of halfway, we're halfway through making the new terrain system, and I'm liking it. We'll see if this ends up sticking, but I like it. so it's a good start. So, you know, you'll get to see me finish this, add features to the game, go back to making cool stuff for it, and the hopeful end product. I never figured out why trees weren't spawning. I need to fix that. But hopefully, you'll also catch the kind of end product as I get further along. Now, granted, this is not what I initially had in mind, and I'll be playing with it some more. But I do like how it looks. I like the start. I also like how I can build things, and there's nobody around to actually complete the buildings. Whoops. Oh well. So thanks again. You guys are fantastic. Thank you again to Binray for hosting me. I don't know if Urban Mango is on, but thank you for the donation. I cannot thank you guys enough for all of your help. Torpid Sloth for the help with all the Twitch stuff. All of you guys who have been here to lend me a hand through all my programming. You are all awesome people, and I appreciate you all very much. Thanks again. Take care. See you guys on the next stream.